Shalom. To start off, I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, whose labors we have entered into. Peace and salutation to the 144,000 and the rest of the Lord's elect, and to all the Akim, Wa Akwaf, the brothers and sisters that may be tuning in. May you find this lesson edifying. This is the brother Halal from the Great Millstone branch in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this lesson is going to be centered around what these powerful, wealthy Edomites at the top of the hierarchy, at the top of the pyramid, so to speak, going into what these people do in their spare time. Because when you look at these different elites and all that, you look at these files, all of these documents and these evidences, it gives you, an insight to what these rich, powerful Edomites do when they're bored. Because you got to think, when you got all that money and all that, carnal power, what do these people do for hobbies, man? And come to find out, now that the evidence is going out to the mainstream, what these people do in their spare time involves a lot of, foul acts being committed towards children, murder, torture, Satanism, cannibalism, they're just them destroying they're basically them torturing victims, man. This is what these Edomites do, when they're bored, because when you have all that power, you have the power to have subjects, man, and this is just one of many occasions where these Edomites get together and torment, their victims, man. So I'm gonna let this video play. As you can see, it's called "A Girl Survives a Rothschild Family Hunting Party." So I'm gonna let this video play. May this lesson be edifying.
Oh, what's that? Oh, somebody just came out talking about how when they were a child that they survived a Rothschild hunting party. What? Tell me more! Yeah, this woman just came out talking about when she was a child, she was able to survive a hunting party done by the Rothschilds. She said what happened is she was taken away as a young child and she was put in a cage underground until the hunt began. They would wait till particular days and then they would let these children out of their cages and then they would tell them to go ahead and run and hide whilst the certain people surrounded the area, the perimeter, and then started their hunt. She said it was super dark when they let him out, and when she was able to run, she actually found a tree and scaled it up high enough to where she wasn't able to be seen. And she stayed there for quite some time until this supposed hunting party diminished. She was then climbed down from the tree and was able to leave the premises, thus surviving the incident. What's that?
So as you just heard, the woman that you see on the screen, we had this Edomite at the bottom speaking for her, but, the woman that you see, she gave a testimony of, what the international banking family, the most prominent, the Rothschild family, and what they did to her when she was real young, detailing a hunting party where these Edomites snatched her up, dropped them off in the woods. And for fun and entertainment, for these cruel devils, man, they hunted these children down. She had to climb to the top of a tree and stay up there for hours, until she survived the quote unquote hunting game, man. So these are the things that these Edomites do, for fun. These elites, these powerful, wealthy people who people look up to, this is how these people get down, man. And it's in their spirit. Edom has a natural propensity to hunt, man, and inflict pain upon others. That goes back to his blessing, which is what? Let's get Genesis 27, and let's go to verse 38. And it says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So, Esau, Edom, after Jacob, took the blessing, which he didn't steal it. Jacob was set up to be ruler over Esau, Edom. Scripture clearly said the elder shall serve the younger. Read Romans the 9th chapter, man. But Esau, Edom was begging his father for a blessing. He was begging his father for, a gift, a talent to be given to him. And this is the blessing of Esau, Edom that was bestowed upon him by his father, man. Verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. In the scriptures, the word fatness refers to what? An abundance of richness, man. And that's what these Edomites have. Prime example is this Rothschild family, man, who do come from the lineage of Esau, Edom. I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole different subject. But if you want more insight, into how these Rothschilds are the Edomites, just look up the definition of their name, man. It goes back to Adawum Magan, shield of Edom, so to speak, man. So these Edomites, man, this is what they do. This is how they get down. It says, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So Esau, Edom's blessing is the sword. The instruments that's used to kill and take life. That's the blessing that Esau, Edom has been given. Therefore, Esau, Edom has that natural propensity to want to hunt, man. In the book of Genesis 25, how did the scriptures describe Esau, Edom? Genesis 25 and 27, it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Esau, Edom is a hunter by nature. Due to the blessing that was bestowed upon him, the spirit that the Lord put within him, this is how they operate, man. They gain pleasure from, hunting, whether it be animals, whether it be people. That's why when you research these Edomite serial killers, they had this natural tendency to have violent outbursts and, mutilate animals, man. When they were kids. And they went from mutilating animals as kids to mutilating and butchering people, man. Because Esau, Edom is that cunning hunter. His blessing is the sword. He is the physical manifestation of Satan, man. He is the child. These are the children of Satan, man. And this is what the men of Yahweh B'Shem Shai have been telling you for so many years. And now it's coming to the forefront, into the mainstream. Now these people can see it. Now these people can see who the devil is, man. In all his, filthy, in all his filthiness, man. I got another video. And this right here, this is
I'm going to show you some of the emails.
The most famous billionaire financer right now, your boy Epstein, and what he's been up to. Let's check it out.
I'm going to show you some of the emails from the Epstein files. Okay. They're talking about these big parties of hunting people, and specifically certain types of people too, which makes it even more disturbing, right?
Okay.
This is to Epstein. Yeah. Going to Mean Launa's party now to hunt. Why would you be going to a party to hunt? Check this out. Snipe hunt is over. Moon crickets in a bag field. In a field bag. And then the bottom is so messed up. Look, guess what? They're N-words.
No.
Yeah. That's what
they call them moon crickets.
That's what they're saying in the email.
Fucked.
It's messed up. So they're targeting specific people, and it gets even crazier because there's speculation they even did this to kids, fam. So they would take a whole bunch of kids, throw them into like a forest, on a deserted area, enclosed where they can't escape, and they would hunt them like game. This is a video of somebody that said they survived the hunting party. Yeah. Listen to this. She's explaining what happens. So this is Jessie Botar, survivor of child hunting party. I'm going to show you some of the emails from the Epstein.
So it looks like, Epstein, he liked to hunt too. You know what I'm saying? And not only hunt, any old people, but hunt what? Moon crickets. Which the word, that term is a contemptuous, an inappropriate term to describe a so-called black person. The tribe of Judah. Yahweh in the Hebrew. You know? So, hey, man, the entire world now knows who the devil is, you know, and what he's been up to. And who has always been his main target throughout history whenever he had a chance? Us, man. Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 10 and verse 2. It says, the wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Right, and when you do research on, you know, sex trafficking, human trafficking, you know, these rich, powerful, wealthy Edomites, they tend to, you know, snatch up kids that, you know, live in low-income areas that don't really have a strong, you know, structure in the household. Maybe the father isn't there, you know, most times. And they snatch them up, and they do all these wicked things to them, man. And they mainly target the poor. And who is the poor in the earth? You know, who are the people in the earth that are always in the rundown cities and the ghettos? That's us, man. The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let's skip down to verse 8. Matter of fact, let's go to verse 6. It says, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Right? And, you know, further in Psalms, it says what? Their thought, you know, talking about these elite Edomites, these international billionaire banking families on down, that their thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So they have the mentality that they'll be able to commit all manner of wickedness and never, you know, reap what they have sown, man. Verse 7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, and in the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. Right, in the woods, you know, on islands, places far out in the middle of nowhere where nobody would think to be at, you know, where no person with common sense will be at night. This is where Esau Edom perpetuates his wickedness, man, and commits these cruel, violent acts towards the masses, and primarily you Israelites, man, because this devil hates you, and he always has. Though they may smile in your face all the time, they want to take your place, man. You know, like the OJ said, man. Verse 9, it says, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net, man. You know, so they hunt after the poor. You know, that they're constantly oppressing people. And they do this all for fun, man. You know, Esau Edom doesn't need a reason to commit, you know, genocide, you know, commit acts of torture and murder on people. It's just in him, man. That's the spirit that Yahweh B'Shem Al Shai has placed within this devil. And that's why this devil is going to have to be judged, man. Let's go 3 chapters back in Psalms chapter 7 and go to the 11th verse. And it says, the Most High judgeth the righteous, and the Most High is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and he hath conceived mischief and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, he digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he had made. So while these Edomites go throughout the world committing these acts of terrorism to the masses and to the apple of the Lord's eye, the Israelites, the Lord is always watching. And he's making a report. He's building up a case against these devils that they're not going to be able to flee away from, man. And eventually they're going to be judged. They're going to fall into the pit that they have made for others to become victim to, man. So I ended off with this Job 20. It's Job 20 and verse 4. It says, knowest thou not this, Salakia, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. You know, so, hey, man, Esau Edom, he was given, you know, rulership over the earth, you know, by Yahweh Shai. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges, if not wearing, who is he? And they've ruled for a what seems to be a long time. But the Lord said what? What seems to be a long time to us is a short time to him. So now we're coming into the times where Esau Edom is being exposed, man. But the exposure has to come before the violent judgment that will be issued upon him by Yahweh Shai, who the world inwardly calls JC. Verse 6, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye which also saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. So eventually, hey, these devils are going to be judged, man. They're going to be casted out from the earth. And the pit that they have made, specifically for us to fall into, he's going to fall into it. He's going to be a victim and a perpetual slave, man, for 1,000 years, very soon. So, I hope this lesson was edifying. With that, I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, and until the next lesson.